What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker here on Unique Access Entertainment. As always, please hit that subscribe button. It's right down there and it's free. That enables us to keep coming to y'all as often as possible with as many interviews and as many commentaries like these on the 1st and 15th as possible. So please hit that subscribe button, like our content, share, talk about it, be about it, each one, teach one. And we appreciate your support in getting us this far. And of course, right down there also is that join. So join our membership. You get shows like the 1st and 15th early before they go live on the general channel. And it's just another way you guys could continue to support us here at Unique Access Entertainment as we keep on our way to trying to get to that #1 spot. Now, today for the 1st and 15th, what I want to be talking about is how there's a lot of love to what's going on in 2022. Now, of course, I don't want to belittle, overlook, or not address the fact that we've lost so many artists in 2022. Of course, we lost DJ K Slay and Coolio to health complications and health issues. And then, of course, there have been, unfortunately, a steady stream of people that have continued to be murdered, like Takeoff, PNB Rock, and so many others that have been murdered in 2022. Those are some of the terrible things that are going on with rap. But I had this idea when I was watching the Saturday Night Live recently that Dave Chappelle hosted, because look at what was going on at the show. First of all, Dave Chappelle, who obviously is very connected to the hip hop culture and the rap music in particular. But when they did the Game of Thrones skit, they had Ice-T in, this skit. And then he's referencing and pulling out, Dave Chappelle's referencing and pulling out things that were from the Chappelle show, which of course had a heavy rap influence. And he was able to bring out his good friends Talib Kweli and Mos Def as Black Star and have them perform on Saturday Night Live. And of course, Meg Thee Stallion and other rappers have performed that are far bigger profile as far as popularity, streams, what have you, mainstream wise than Black Star. But Black Star, of course, is a phenomenal group and has been and came back this year with No Fear of Time. And that's an amazing thing to see that Dave Chappelle was able to get them on Saturday Night Live, and to see Mos Def and Talib Kweli perform was amazing. Madlib also. And so we got Ice-T, we got Dave Chappelle, we got Talib Kweli, we got Mos Def, we got Madlib. This is an amazing thing to be on Saturday Night Live. It's also an amazing thing just to underscore how pervasive rap is and how now these types of things are so common that they're not even really much that we think about. It just happens. And to me, that even is something huge, to where someone like Dave Chappelle, again, in his monologue, he addressed Kanye West and a lot of the problems that Kanye West has been going through the last several months. And that just shows you, like, on Saturday Night Live, we got rap performers, we got a hip hop culture comedian, and in the monologue, we're talking about stuff going on in the rap world. To me, that just shows you, there's a lot of great things happening in rap, and the expansion and the ubiquity that the culture has at this point, I think, is amazing and something that we should celebrate. Because as I was growing up, and as I'm sure most of you were growing up, and, we were getting places in our lives as we continue to listen to rap, as hip hop meant what it ended up meaning to each one of us. This is the type of thing that I know, at least for me, I wanted to see. I wanted to be able to turn on the TV and watch rap everywhere. I wanted to be able to turn on the television and see one of my favorite actors, Ice-T, in Law and Order, and, see them perform like a Black Star type of group, see them perform on a major television network show. And all this is happening, and all this is amazing that it continues happening. And so I think there is a lot to celebrate, despite some of the bad things that have developed, of course, with the murders and the deaths that we're seeing. So many of these great things are happening, and they continue to happen with rap in the mainstream society. And I think, too, also, we have to realize, and a lot of people talk about the music. Oh, the music isn't what it was, but it's never going to be what it was. But I think it's also important to highlight that there's a lot of great music that's come out so far in 2022, and we're not even done with it yet. I'd mentioned Black Star because they performed on the Saturday Night Live with Dave Chappelle hosting, but the No Fear of Time album is a great album. Everybody needs to check that out. And that's like long overdue. And then something else that I thought that was long overdue, that was incredible, that came out this year, was the Saturday Afternoon Kung Fu Theater by the RZA and DJ Scratch. I interviewed RZA. You can check out the link right there for this album. And, you know, RZA, because of all of his work, I think sometimes doesn't get that much acclaim or attention or reverence for his lyricism. But man, if you listen to that project, Saturday Afternoon Kung Fu Theater, you got to check it out, because probably my favorite song on there is Fisherman. And, you know, it's got some sad horns, it's got strings. DJ Scratch does a phenomenal job on the production on that song, as he does throughout Saturday Afternoon Kung Fu Theater. But on Fisherman in particular, RZA is talking about the drug game and how whatever benefits, quote unquote, came from the participation in that it wasn't worth it. And this is the type of reflection that I think is important that we get in rap as we continue as a society and as a culture using, consuming, and rapping about so much drug use, that we have something else to consider that RZA provides on Fisherman, which is all the lives that have been lost directly, indirectly, whether that's through death or through incarceration because of drugs. And RZA, I think, does a brilliant job looking at Fisherman. And that's just one of the many great songs on Saturday Afternoon Kung Fu Theater. So I definitely highly recommend you check that out. And I also interviewed DJ Scratch and did a cover story. Check that link out right there with him about it, because this is, in my opinion, one of the best projects of 2022. And, you know, it just shows there's a lot going on. And then, you know, I had the fortune, shout out to Chris Schwartz, of meeting DJ Too Tough through Tough Crew. And, you know, he's put out Behold the Detonator. And this is a largely instrumental album that features a lot of his turntable gymnastics, of course. But two of my favorites don't have much of either of that. One is Enemies and one is Doberman. These don't have a lot of scratching, but it's just great production and great sounds and great feel. And this is the type of stuff in the 80s in particular we would get, and even in the early 90s, through the work of Public Enemy, Pete Rock, and CL Smooth and others. But we would get these interludes, we would get these instrumental beats. And to hear Behold the Detonator in 2022, I thought was great. And with Doberman and Enemies in particular, two of my favorites on Behold the Detonator, I was just like, man, this is the type of thing that helped me fall in love with rap and deepen my love of rap and took it to another level. And, you know, this is the type of stuff that I get excited about. And people that watch Unique Access and read my articles and my books, you know, I think it's important that we support these type of artists. You know, I've done videos that, you know, why we need to support the Ice-T's and the Master Aces and the Dana Danes and the LL Cool J's and the Scarfaces when they put out new music. There's the link to that video. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. But the point is, a lot of dudes are still putting out music, and so are women too. And one of the unlikely but great collaborations was Cheat Codes by Black Thought and Danger Mouse. You know, I got to interview them for one of the other places I write for, Flood Magazine. You guys should check that out if you haven't already. But like, man, The Darkest Place, speaking of Public Enemy, Black Thought references it. It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back, one of my favorite songs on there. He references Black Steel and An Hour of Chaos on The Darkest Place. And that type of thing I always loved about rap, where if you know the old references or what have you, it makes the music mean a lot more to you. And for me, that's something that I've always like, oh man, you know, the people that know, and the people that don't, whether through talking to people like me, or they can search it, or, oh, what does Black Thought mean by that? When he says that on The Darkest Place, that's the type of thing that helps me, you know, stay invigorated and stay so into rap. And to see Black Thought shining as he has done before, but to continue to shine outside of the roots, I think is noteworthy and commendable, because of course the Roots are legendary and have put out so much great material of their own. But to see Black Thought shine in these other ways and other arenas, I think is amazing. And then there's a song like Belize where Black Thought's talking about how he's a product of the last poets and the Watts Prophets. And I think too, this is a nod, of course, to the spoken word poetry and that type of stuff with Gil Scott-Heron on the political side of things with The Last Poets and the Watts Prophets, but also, it's the Blowflies, it's the Dolomites, Rudy Ray Moore, etc., that rappers learned from, took notes from, were inspired by, or what have you. And of course, many people sampled all those people I just referenced, but it was great to hear Black Thought on Belize reference that on the Cheat Codes album, because he's paying homage to Public Enemy on the rap side of things, but then he's paying homage to the Watts Prophets and the Last Poets as well. And that's what I think, is so important, that not only do we acknowledge, support, and recognize the great music that's coming out now by some of our favorite and some of the best artists, but that these artists are also, giving a nod of the cap or tipping their hats to the people that paved the way, that gave them the platform to do what they're doing now. And to me, that's great. On the lesser side of things, as far as notoriety, we even have the newer artists that are doing things like Triz and Mike Summers. I interviewed them for their Baseline Cavi album. There's a link to one of the interviews there. But I mean, they got a lot of great material on there. Redhead's Stepchild. It's Triz is talking about dealing with self-doubt and not believing in himself and needing to push through and to make things happen. And like, that's something that everybody wrestles with to whatever degree. And to hear Triz, a younger dude from LA, rapping about that stuff shows that rap is in good hands. There are rappers that are high quality, that are putting out new music, that are younger, that are doing a lot of great things, and we need to support them too. Not just the Black Thoughts, not just the DJ Two Toughs, not just the RZAs and DJ Scratches, by going to see their shows, but by streaming their music, by buying their CDs if they're pressing them up, by downloading their stuff, buying it. And that's why, I think it's important to understand that yes, rap keeps evolving, and yes, rap is so different. Yes, 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 yes. But the music is still there. The music is still being created in a great way. And I think, that's something that needs to be done. And in the second half of the year, this project is much more recent, but Operation Decimation, by Direct from Triple Darkness and Never from Crucial Conflict, I think is amazing. It's got two of my favorites have collaborations. One is Pump Up with Twister. The other one's No Wait with Buck from Psychodrama. But if you haven't checked out that project, definitely check that one out. That's Chicago. And, I think it's one of the best rap cities and doesn't get enough attention or notoriety or acclaim for its significance in the game either. But it's very important. And, for Direct and Never to come through, they've obviously known each other forever before they got in the game, but to see them put out this great project, Operation Decimation, I think is, it's incredible, man. And I think too, we also have to recognize a lot of the people I was talking about that are putting out this music other than Black Star are newer collaborations or people that don't normally work together. But then we have like Cypress Hill with the Back in Black. That's also another noteworthy album that came out in 2022 that I think is so important. And my favorite song on there is The Ride. And Be Real on there is talking about the dangers and the pitfalls of the street, some of the pain that he had suffered and pain that he inflicted on others from being in that street life. Cypress Hill, of course, has done this type of material and Be Real solo artist and in Cypress Hill material, as has Sendog talked about, the pitfalls and the shortcomings of the street life. But that's not what they're really known for as much. Of course, people want to look at them for the party songs, for the weed songs and this and that, but there's a lot more to Cypress Hill for the people that have been listening to them since 91, like myself. There's a lot more to Cypress Hill. They're much deeper and much more well-rounded than I think a lot of people realize. So that's why I would also wanted to point out that Back in Black just shows like, man, Cypress Hill is still putting it down. With songs like The Ride, they're really showing their brilliance as songwriters, thematically, structurally. Be Real is, I think, one of the more underrated artists in rap history. And it just shows. And it just also shows that in 2022, there's so much great stuff going on in rap. And I know a lot of the times, we miss what rap used to be in a lot of ways, but I'm also here to tell you, in a lot of ways, we're still getting that. It's just, you have to put a little bit of extra effort in like you did in the 80s or the 90s when rap wasn't so pervasive, it wasn't ubiquitous like it is now. You did need to put in a little bit of effort to find rap that you liked, or rap that you wanted to hear, or rap that fit your sensibility. It's all still there, and it's all still being created. Now you just got to work at it. So that's why on this episode of the 1st and 15th, I wanted to highlight some things that are going right in rap, that are positive, that are great artistically, creatively, business-wise, or what have you, because there's a lot of that still going on. And I think it's very easy to complain, but let's take a minute and support some of these great things that are happening in 2022, musically, business-wise, and creatively. Vince Staples, my favorite artist that's coming out in the last decade or so, has got a new show coming out on Netflix, I believe it is. You know, that's just another example of a younger artist breaking through. He's not quadruple platinum and selling records like Drake or anything like that, but Vince Staples is phenomenal. And in my opinion, you know, he's the best of this era from the 2010s on. And now he's going to be taking another step with having another show. And all this needs to be supported and needs to be embraced and endorsed. So anyway, that's what I'm here on the 1st and 15th. As always, hit me up in that comment section. Like, subscribe. Thank you for those who have joined us here on Unique Access as members. We always got to say shout out and appreciate to you for that. And tell a friend, man, get these memberships up, get our subscribers up so we can get to that #1 spot. I'm Soren Baker. You can hit me on all social media, of course, at Soren Baker, and follow us at Unique Access Ent on all social media as well. And that's it, man, for the 1st and 15th. I'll see you next time. Soren Baker, Unique Access Entertainment. Hit that subscribe button, hit that join button. Appreciate it, y'all.